Everyone thinks when your husband leaves, there's a fight, a reason, something. I got nothing. Daniel disappeared like he never existed, and I had no idea why. I came home on a Sunday evening. I'd been gone for 3 days at what I told him was a work conference in Seattle. The key turned in the lock like it always did. The hallway light was off. That should have been my first clue. I stepped inside and stopped breathing. The living room was empty. Not messy. Not ransacked. Empty. The couch was gone. The coffee table. The TV. Even the stupid decorative bowl we got as a wedding gift that I hated. Gone. I stood there with my suitcase in one hand and my phone in the other, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. I moved through the house like I was walking through someone else's nightmare. The kitchen table gone. The chairs. The pots and pans. He'd taken the dish soap. The hand towels. I opened the fridge. It was running, but it was empty except for a bottle of ketchup and half a carton of milk. Our bedroom looked like a hotel room after checkout. His side of the closet was bare. Hangers stripped. Dresser drawers empty. The photos on the nightstand. Our wedding, our honeymoon. That stupid selfie we took at his brother's birthday, all of them were gone. Just the frames, standing there like skeletons. My clothes were still there. Folded. Stacked in neat little piles on the bed. It was so careful. So deliberate. Like he'd taken his time. I pulled out my phone and called him. It rang once, then cut to a robotic voice. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. My stomach dropped. I tried again. Same thing. I opened my texts. The last message I'd sent him was Friday morning. Miss you. See you Sunday night. He'd replied with a heart emoji. That was it. Nothing after. I tried email. It bounced. I checked Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. His accounts were gone. Not deactivated. Deleted. Like he'd wiped himself off the internet. I called his office. A woman answered, cheerful and professional. I asked for Daniel. There was a pause. I'm sorry, who's calling? His wife. Another pause. Longer this time. Ma'am, Daniel resigned 2 weeks ago. He gave proper notice, wrapped up his projects, and left on excellent terms. We were actually surprised he was leaving. He didn't mention why. 2 weeks ago, he'd been going to work every morning, coming home every night, kissing me, watching TV with me. We'd had dinner together. We'd had sex 3 days before I left. I hung up without saying anything else. I tried his mother next. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. I tried his brother. Same thing. His sister. Voicemail. His best friend from college. Voicemail. I called 6 more people from his contacts. Nobody picked up. I checked our bank accounts on my laptop, hands shaking so hard I could barely type. Our joint checking account was closed. Officially. Legally. I pulled up our savings. Also closed. His personal account closed. Mine was still open. My half of everything was still there. Untouched. He hadn't stolen anything. He'd just taken what was his and left. I stood up and walked through the house again. There was no note. No letter. No explanation. Nothing. I went back to the bedroom and tore through the closet, looking for anything he might have left behind. A receipt. A piece of paper. Something. I found nothing. I checked under the bed. Nothing. I opened every drawer in the house. Nothing. I sat down on the floor in the living room where the couch used to be and stared at the empty space. The carpet still had indentations from the furniture legs. My phone buzzed. For one horrible, hopeful second, I thought it was him. It wasn't. It was a calendar reminder. Daniel's dentist appointment, 2 p.m. Tuesday. I stared at it until the screen went dark. He'd planned this. He had to have. You don't move an entire house of furniture in a weekend without planning. You don't close bank accounts and quit your job and delete your entire online presence without preparation. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a fight that got out of hand. This was methodical. I tried to think. Tried to remember if there were signs. Arguments. Distance. Cold shoulders. Anything. But there was nothing. Daniel had been Daniel. Quiet, steady, reliable. He brought me coffee in the morning. He asked about my day. He laughed at my jokes. He held my hand when we watched movies. We were fine. Weren't we? I pulled up my texts again and scrolled back through weeks of messages. Normal stuff. Grocery lists. Dinner plans. Memes. Nothing weird. Nothing off. I checked my call log. We talked on the phone Thursday night while I was supposedly in Seattle. He'd sounded normal. Asked how the conference was going. Told me he missed me. I sat there on the floor until the sun went down and the house got dark. I didn't turn on the lights. There was something almost peaceful about sitting in the emptiness. Like if I stayed still enough, I could rewind time and figure out where this went wrong. But I couldn't. I picked up my phone one more time and typed out a text to his disconnected number. Where are you? Please, just tell me why. It didn't send. Of course it didn't. I tore the house apart that night looking for answers. A letter. A clue. Anything. I found nothing. It was like Daniel had woken up one day and decided I didn't exist anymore. But the weirdest part? We had breakfast together that morning. He'd kissed me goodbye. Smiled. Said love you. 8 hours later, he was gone. I kept asking myself what I did wrong. I ran through every conversation, every argument. We didn't fight. We didn't have problems. We were fine. So why did he leave? I spent the first 3 days after Daniel disappeared replaying our entire marriage in my head, like I was searching for a hidden message in a movie I'd seen 100 times. There had to be something I missed. A sign. A moment where things shifted. But I couldn't find it. Daniel had been perfect. Not perfect like fake perfect. Perfect like steady, reliable, present. He brought me coffee every morning, made exactly the way I liked it. He remembered my favorite takeout order. He never forgot our anniversary. Last month we'd gone to that bed and breakfast upstate, the one with the lake view. We'd spent the whole weekend in bed, talking and laughing and making love like we were still newlyweds. He looked at me that weekend and said, "I'm so lucky." I kissed him and said, "Me too." I meant it. I think he did too. That's what made this so impossible to understand. There were no fights, no silent treatments, no sleeping on the couch or slamming doors. Daniel wasn't cold or distant. He didn't pull away. 2 weeks before he left, we'd hosted a dinner party. He'd had his arm around me all night, kissed my temple while I was talking to his co-worker. I held my hand under the table. How do you go from that to erasing someone from your life? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through photos. There were hundreds. Daniel smiling at the camera. Daniel with his arm around me. Daniel at his brother's birthday party last month. His brother Kyle was in that photo too, standing on Daniel's other side, beer in hand, grinning like he didn't have a care in the world. Kyle, my chest tightened. I need to be honest about something. And I don't know how to say it without sounding like a terrible person. So I'm just going to say it. I'd been seeing Kyle. Not seeing. That makes it sound like dating. It wasn't that. It was something else. Something that started 8 months ago at a family barbecue and turned into something I never meant to let happen. Kyle was Daniel's younger brother. 29. Charming. Spontaneous. Everything Daniel wasn't. Daniel was steady and careful. Kyle was impulsive. Adventurous. He made me feel like I was 25 again instead of 33 and married and stuck in the same routines. It started with a text. Just a joke about something that happened at the barbecue. Then another text. Then coffee. Then a drink. Then a hotel room on a Tuesday afternoon when Daniel thought I was at a work meeting. I told myself it didn't mean anything. It was separate. Compartmentalized. Daniel was my husband. Kyle was just an escape. A distraction. Something for me. Daniel didn't need to know because it didn't affect us. Our marriage was still good. I still loved Daniel. This thing with Kyle didn't change that. We were so careful. Burner phones. Hotels an hour away. Never the same place twice. We didn't text on our real numbers. Didn't leave trails. Kyle would tell his family he was traveling for work. I'd tell Daniel I had client dinners or conferences. It was seamless. Easy. Too easy, maybe. Daniel never asked questions. Never checked my phone. Never seemed suspicious. He trusted me. Completely. I told myself that meant I was doing the right thing by keeping it from him. Why hurt him with something that didn't matter? But now Daniel is gone. And so was Kyle. Kyle had vanished the same day Daniel did. I tried calling him when I realized Daniel was gone. thinking maybe he'd know something. Maybe there was a family drama I didn't know about. But Kyle's number went straight to a generic voicemail. No greeting. No name. I tried texting. The messages turned green. Undelivered. I drove to Kyle's apartment the next morning. A guy in the hallway said Kyle had moved out over the weekend, paid off his lease, took everything, didn't leave a forwarding address. 2 men, both gone. Same day. I sat in my car outside Kyle's building and tried to make sense of it. Did they have a fight? Did Daniel find out about something else and cut everyone off? Was this some kind of family emergency Kyle and Daniel were dealing with together? It didn't feel right, but it also didn't feel like they knew about me and Kyle. Because if Daniel knew, he would have said something. Wouldn't he? He would have confronted me, yelled, throw something. You don't just leave without a word when your wife is sleeping with your brother. Do you? I called Daniel's best friend that night. His name was Andrew. He picked up on the 4th ring. Andrew, it's me. Have you heard from Daniel? Silence. Andrew. Yeah, I'm here. Do you know where he is? I've been trying to reach him for days. He's just gone. More silence. Then, quietly, he didn't tell you? My heart stopped. Tell me what? Andrew exhaled, long and slow. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But 3 weeks ago, Daniel called me. Late. Like 2 in the morning. He sounded weird. Off. Off how? I don't know. Distant. He asked me this question that stuck with me. He said, do you think people can just stop loving someone overnight? I told him no. That's not how it works. He went quiet for a while, then he said, good. Then I'm not crazy. I felt ice slide down my spine. What does that mean? I don't know. I asked him what was going on. He said he had to go. That was it. I haven't heard from him since. Andrew, please. If you know something. I don't. I swear. But whatever's going on, he didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted to know if he was losing his mind. The line went dead. I sat there on the couch in my empty living room, staring at my phone. 3 weeks ago, Daniel had asked Andrew if people could stop loving someone overnight. What did that mean? Was he talking about me? Did he think I stopped loving him? I hadn't. I still loved Daniel. I did. The thing with Kyle wasn't about love. It was just something else. Something I needed that Daniel couldn't give me. But that didn't mean I didn't love my husband. Did it? I thought about the last few weeks. Tried to remember if Daniel had seemed different. Upset. Withdrawn. But I couldn't think of anything. He'd been normal. Attentive. Loving. We'd had sex the Wednesday before I left for the fake conference. He'd held me after. Ran his fingers through my hair. Told me I was beautiful. How could that man be the same man who gutted our house and disappeared without a word? I picked up my phone and opened the photo album again. Scrolled back to our anniversary trip. There was a selfie we took on the dock by the lake. Daniel's arm around me. Both of us were smiling. He looked happy. I looked happy. We were happy. Weren't we? My phone buzzed. For half a second I thought it might be Daniel. Or Kyle. Or someone with answers. But it was just a notification. A memory from 3 years ago. Facebook reminded me it was the anniversary of the day Daniel proposed. I clicked on the photo. Daniel on one knee. Me with my hands over my mouth, crying. The caption I'd written, I said yes to forever. I stared at that photo until my vision blurred. 3 weeks ago, Daniel had called his best friend in the middle of the night and asked if people could stop loving someone overnight. And now he is gone. I put the phone down and pressed my palms against my eyes. There had to be an explanation. Something logical. Something that didn't involve the one thing I couldn't let myself think about. Because if Daniel knew about Kyle, he would have said something. He would have fought. He wouldn't have just left. Would he? The PI I hired specialized in finding people who didn't want to be found. When I told him about Daniel, he said something that made my stomach drop. Your husband didn't run away. He executed an exit strategy. His name was Victor Chun. I found him through a lawyer's referral. His office was in a strip mall between a tax service and a nail salon. The waiting room smelled like old coffee and had motivational posters on the walls that felt deeply ironic given the circumstances. Victor was in his 50s, gray at the temples, with the kind of face that had seen too much to be surprised by anything. He sat across from me with a yellow legal pad and didn't offer me water or sympathy. Tell me what happened, he said. I told him everything. Daniel disappeared. Took all his things. No note. No explanation. No contact. I told him about the disconnected phone, the deleted social media, and the closed bank accounts. I told him Daniel quit his job 2 weeks before he left, and I had no idea. Victor wrote nothing down, just listened. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. Any signs of trouble in the marriage? Fighting? Infidelity? Substance abuse? I hesitated for half a second. No, nothing like that. We were happy. He watched me when I said it. I couldn't tell if he believed me. Financial problems? No, we were fine. Comfortable. Mental health issues? Depression? Anxiety? No. Daniel was stable. Steady. He wasn't the type to just break. Victor tapped his pen against the desk. And you're sure there was no warning? No strange behavior? No distance? I'm sure. He was normal. Right up until he wasn't. Victor nodded slowly. Okay, I'll need access to financial records, joint accounts, credit cards, any shared documents. I'll also need names of family, friends, co-workers, anyone who might know where he is. His family won't talk to me. I've tried. They don't have to talk to you. They just have to exist. He slid a contract across the desk. My retainer is $5,000. I bill hourly after that. I'll find him, but I need you to be prepared for what I might find. What do you mean? People don't disappear like this without a reason. When I find him, you might not like the answer. I signed the contract. Victor called me 2 days later. I was sitting in my empty living room, scrolling through old photos on my phone when his name lit up the screen. I pulled your financial records, he said. No greeting. No small talk. Your husband's been moving money for 6 months. My stomach turned. What do you mean, moving money? Small transfers. Legal. Clean. He moved funds from your joint savings into a personal account. Closed that account. I opened a new one. Moved it again. He did this 4 times. Rerouted mail to a P.O. box he didn't know about. Changed beneficiaries on his life insurance. Updated his will without telling you. I couldn't breathe. When? Started 6 months ago. Accelerated 3 months ago. By the time he left, he'd quietly separated every financial tie between you. But I didn't notice anything. He didn't act differently. That's the point. This wasn't impulsive. He's been planning this for months. That's not possible. We were fine. We went on vacation. We had sex 2 days before he left. You don't do that if you're planning to leave. Victor was quiet for a moment. Then, lady, the best exits are the ones where the other person never sees it coming. If he'd been cold or distant, you would have asked questions. He kept things normal so you wouldn't. I felt sick. What else did you find? He withdrew $47,000 from investment accounts. What investment accounts? Exactly. Accounts he opened years ago. Before you were married. You weren't listed. You didn't know they existed. Is that legal? Completely. It was his money. But here's the thing. He didn't just take it and run. He liquidated everything. Sold stocks. Cashed out bonds. Closed every account. This wasn't a man having a breakdown. This was a man erasing himself. I pressed my hand against my forehead. Why would he do this? That's what I'm going to find out. But I need you to be honest with me. Is there anything you're not telling me? Anything that might explain why he'd plan an exit this carefully? I thought about Kyle. About hotel rooms and burner phones and 8 months of lies. But I couldn't say it. Not yet. Not to a stranger. No, I said. There's nothing. Victor didn't respond right away. I could hear him breathing on the other end of the line. Okay, he said finally. I'll keep digging. He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. 6 months. Daniel had been planning this for 6 months. While I was sleeping next to him. While I was kissing him goodbye in the mornings. While I was telling him I loved him. While I was meeting Kyle in hotel rooms. No, that couldn't be it. Daniel didn't know. He couldn't have known. If he knew, he would have said something. Done something. You don't meticulously plan an exit over 6 months because your wife is cheating. You scream. You throw things. You file for divorce. You don't just disappear. My phone rang again. It was almost midnight. Victor's name on the screen. I found something, he said. What? Your husband booked a flight 6 months ago. One-way ticket. My heart stopped. Where? That's the strange part. He didn't use it. He changed the destination. 3 times. Portland, then Denver, then Phoenix. I don't understand. He was planning to leave 6 months ago, but he kept changing his mind. Or maybe he was waiting for something. And the final booking? It's for next week. Next week? Yeah, but here's what you need to know. The destination isn't international. It's domestic. He's still in the state. I felt cold all over. Where? Victor's voice dropped. 2 hours north of you. And based on his activity, he's been there for a week. Which means he's been close this whole time. Why would he stay close? Victor was quiet for a beat too long. Victor. Because he's been watching you. The words hit me like a fist. What? I tracked his credit card. Gas station purchases. Convenience stores. All within a 20-mile radius of your house. He bought gas 3 miles from you 2 days ago. Coffee at a shop you go to every morning. He's not hiding from you. He's observing you. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. There's more, Victor said. I pulled surveillance footage from the gas station. Timestamp matches his purchase. I'm sending you a screenshot now. My phone buzzed. I opened the message. It was a grainy image from a security camera. A man standing at a pump, his back to the camera. But I knew that posture, that jacket, that shape. Daniel. He was holding his phone. The screen was lit. I zoomed in, hands shaking. He was looking at something on his phone. I couldn't make out the details, but the angle, the way he was standing, the timestamp. It was the same day I'd been texting Kyle. He's not running from you, Victor said quietly. He's making sure you don't know he's watching. And whatever he's planning, he's not done yet. The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, staring at the photo of my husband standing at a gas station 3 miles from our house, watching me through a screen. And for the first time since he left, I realized something that made my blood run cold. Daniel didn't leave because he was hurt. He left because he was ready. Victor called me at 7 in the morning. His voice was tight, professional, but there was something underneath it. Something that sounded like pity. I need you to come to my office. Now. What did you find? Not over the phone. You need to see this in person. I was there in 20 minutes. Victor was waiting with a laptop open and a manila folder on his desk. He didn't offer me coffee this time. Didn't ask how I was doing. He just gestured to the chair. Sit down. I sat. He turned the laptop toward me. I traced your husband's digital footprint, bank accounts, credit cards, phone records, and I found something I wasn't expecting. The screen showed a cloud storage account, files organized by date, hundreds of them. What is this? Your husband installed spyware on your phone 9 months ago. My heart stopped. What? Spyware. Professional grade. Not the cheap stuff. The kind that runs invisible in the background. He had access to everything. Your texts, your calls, your location, your browser history, everything. I couldn't breathe. That's illegal. It's illegal to install it on someone else's phone without permission. But if he installed it on a phone he purchased under a family plan he pays for, the legality gets murky. And your husband's a smart man. He covered his tracks. Victor clicked a folder. Files populated the screen. Screenshots, photos, documents, all time-stamped, all organized. He saved everything. And I mean everything. He opened the first file. It was a screenshot of a text conversation between me and Kyle. The date was 8 months ago. Kyle, can't stop thinking about yesterday. Me neither. Same time next week. Kyle, already counting down. I felt my stomach drop. Victor clicked to the next file. Another screenshot. More texts. Explicit ones. Planning meetups. Talking about Daniel. Talking about how careful we were being. Then photos. Me and Kyle entering a hotel. Time-stamped. Geotagged. Clear as day. Me and Kyle in his car. Kissing. Taken from a distance, but unmistakable. Me and Kyle at a restaurant an hour outside the city. Holding hands across the table. Victor kept clicking. More photos, more screenshots, months of them. Every hotel, every text, every lie I told Daniel about where I was and who I was with. He knew, I whispered. The entire time. He knew. He didn't just know, Victor said. He documented. Meticulously. Look at this. He opened another folder. Audio files. Dozens of them. He recorded your phone calls. Conversations with Kyle. Conversations with your friends where you talked about the affair. He saved voicemails. He archived deleted texts. He built a case file like he was preparing for trial. I couldn't look away from the screen. Every file was labeled, organized by date and type. Hotel receipts Kyle paid for. Restaurant bills. Even screenshots of my calendar with fake work meetings marked. How long has he had this? Based on the timestamps, he started collecting evidence 9 months ago. But he's been monitoring you longer than that. I found metadata that suggests the spyware was installed almost a year ago. A year. My voice didn't sound like mine. He's known for a year, and he never said a word. Never confronted you. Never changed his behavior. According to this, he kept being the perfect husband while watching you lie to him every single day. I thought about last year. Daniel bringing me coffee. Daniel kissing me goodbye. Daniel holding me at night. All of it while he knew. While he was watching. While he was documenting every betrayal. Why? I asked. Why would he do this? Why not just confront me? Victor leaned back in his chair. His expression was hard. Because confrontation gives you power. It gives you a chance to explain. To apologize. To manipulate. He didn't want that. He wanted you powerless. But he left. He didn't take any of this to a lawyer. He didn't file for divorce. He just disappeared. That's what worries me. Victor opened the manila folder, pulled out documents, placed them in front of me one by one. Your husband didn't just leave. He set something in motion. The first document was a property deed. My name was on it. Address in Nevada. Purchase date 3 months ago. I didn't buy a house in Nevada. I know. But according to public records, you did. Your signature's on the deed. Your social security number. Your bank account was used for the down payment. That's fraud. I didn't sign anything. I believe you. But proving it's going to be difficult. The signature's convincing. And the money came from an account with your name on it. He placed another document in front of me. A loan application. My name. My information. $50,000. Approved. I didn't apply for this. I know. Another document. Credit card. Opened 3 months ago. My name. $10,000 limit. Maxed out. He's been using your identity, Victor said. Setting up accounts. Making purchases. Creating a financial trail that leads back to you. Why would he do this? Victor's jaw tightened. Because men don't do this for divorce. They do this for destruction. I stared at the documents. My name everywhere. Signatures I didn't make. Purchases I didn't authorize. A house I'd never seen. What is he planning? I don't know yet. But whatever it is, it's big. And it's about to hit. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Hello. Silence. Then breathing. Daniel. The line went dead. Victor was watching me. Was it him? I don't know. Maybe. My phone buzzed again. A text. Unknown number. You're looking for answers. Stop. You won't like what you find. I showed Victor. His face went dark. He knows you hired me. How? Because he's still watching you. Victor closed the laptop. You need to understand something. Your husband spent a year documenting your affair. He spent months moving money and setting up false accounts in your name. He disappeared without a trace but stayed close enough to monitor you. This isn't about heartbreak. This is strategic. Calculated. He's executing a plan. What kind of plan? The kind that ends with you losing everything. I felt my chest tighten. What do I do? Right now. Nothing. Don't contact him. Don't try to find him. Don't do anything that he might be watching for. I need time to figure out what he's building toward. And if I can't wait, Victor looked at me hard. Then you play right into whatever trap he's set. I left his office with my hands shaking. Got in my car. Locked the doors. Sat there trying to process what I'd just learned. Daniel knew. For a year. Maybe longer. Every kiss, every lie, every time I came home from a hotel room and crawled into bed next to him. He knew, and he said nothing. My phone buzzed again. Another text. Same unknown number. You thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. And now you'll feel what I felt. Invisible. Powerless. Erased. This is just the beginning. I stared at the message until my vision blurred. Daniel wasn't hiding from me. He was hunting me. And I had no idea what he was going to do next. I woke up to police at my door. They had a warrant for fraud, identity theft, and financial crimes I didn't commit. That's when I knew Daniel wasn't gone. He was just getting started. The pounding started at 6 in the morning, loud enough to jolt me out of sleep. I stumbled to the door in my pajamas, thinking maybe it was a neighbor. An emergency. Something explainable. I opened the door to 3 police officers and 2 people in suits with federal badges. Are you Rebecca Hartman? Yes. What's going on? We have a warrant to search the premises. Step aside, please. They didn't wait for me to move. They pushed past me into my apartment. One of them handed me a folded document. A search warrant. The words blurred together. Fraud. Identity theft. Financial crimes. Money laundering. There's been a mistake, I said. I didn't do any of this. You'll have a chance to explain that. Right now, we need you to stay in the living room and not touch anything. I stood there in shock while they tore through my apartment. Opened drawers. Rifled through papers. One of them took my laptop. Another bagged my phone. Wait. I need my phone. You'll get it back after we process it. Process it for what? Evidence. One of the agents in suits sat down across from me. She had sharp eyes and a manila folder in her hands. Ms. Hartman, are you aware that you're listed as the owner of a property in Henderson, Nevada? No, I've never been to Nevada. According to county records, you purchased a residential property 3 months ago for $215,000. That's not possible. I didn't buy anything. She opened the folder, slid a document across the table. A deed. My name. My signature. My social security number. Is this your signature? I stared at it. It looked like mine. But I'd never seen this document before in my life. I didn't sign this. Did anyone have access to your personal information? Social security number? Bank accounts? My husband. But he's gone. He left weeks ago. The agent's expression didn't change. Left how? Just left. Took his things. Disappeared. I haven't heard from him since. She made a note. What's your husband's name? Daniel Hartman. And when did he leave? 3 weeks ago. She flipped through her folder, pulled out another document, showed it to me. It was a missing persons report. Filed 4 weeks ago. By Daniel. Your husband reported himself missing? No. He reported you as erratic and potentially dangerous. He claimed he feared for his safety and needed to leave without informing you of his location. My stomach dropped. That's not true. None of that is true. He also filed a restraining order. 2 weeks ago. Were you aware of that? What? No. She slid the restraining order across the table. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely read it. But the words were clear enough. Daniel claimed I'd been threatening him, harassing him, behaving unstably. The order prohibited me from contacting him or coming within 500 feet of him. I never threatened him. I didn't even know where he was. Ms. Hartman, did you open multiple lines of credit in the last 6 months? No. Did you take out a personal loan for $50,000 3 months ago? No. Did you make purchases totaling over $30,000 on credit cards you don't recognize? No. I didn't do any of this. The agent closed her folder. Then someone used your identity. And based on the evidence we have, that person had intimate access to your personal information. It was Daniel, my husband. He did this. Your husband who filed a missing persons report claiming you were unstable? The same husband who's now protected by a restraining order. I realized what she was saying, what this looked like. Daniel had set this up perfectly. He'd framed himself as the victim, me as the threat. And now I was sitting in my apartment with federal agents telling me I'd committed fraud. I didn't do this, I said again. My voice cracked. He did. He's been planning this. He installed spyware on my phone. He's been watching me. I have proof. What kind of proof? My private investigator found it. He has files, evidence. He can show you. The agent stood up. We'll need to speak with your investigator. In the meantime, your bank accounts are frozen pending investigation. Do not leave the state. Do not attempt to contact your husband. Any violation of the restraining order will result in immediate arrest. They left 20 minutes later, took my laptop, my phone, my financial records, left me sitting in my ransacked apartment with a stack of legal documents I couldn't begin to understand. I called Victor from my neighbor's phone. They just raided my apartment. I know. I got a call from a federal agent an hour ago asking about you. What did you tell them? The truth. That you hired me to find your husband. That I found evidence he'd been monitoring you. They took copies of everything I had. Victor, they think I did this. They think I committed fraud. I know. What do I do? You need a lawyer. A good one. And you need to stay calm. Don't talk to anyone without representation. Don't post anything online. Don't try to contact Daniel. They froze my accounts. I can't afford a lawyer. Victor was quiet for a moment. I'll send you some names. Pro bono people. But you need to move fast. This is just the beginning. What do you mean? He's not done. He's going to keep tightening the noose until you can't breathe. My work called an hour later. HR, professional but cold. They were placing me on unpaid leave, pending the outcome of the investigation. Something about company policy and legal liability. I barely heard the words. Just nodded and said I understood. I sat on the floor of my apartment and stared at the mess the police had left behind. Drawers pulled out. Papers scattered. My life is torn apart by people looking for evidence of crimes I didn't commit. My neighbor's phone rang. Victor, you need to hear something. What? I've been going through the files Daniel left in his cloud storage. I found an audio recording. It's dated 2 weeks ago, right before he disappeared. Play it. There was a pause. Then Daniel's voice. Calm, even, terrifyingly composed. She thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. Every lie. Every hotel room. Every text message she thought she deleted. I watched her destroy us and smile at me like nothing was wrong. And now she'll feel what I felt. Erased. Powerless. Invisible. She'll wake up one day and realize everything she thought was hers is gone. Her money. Her job. Her reputation. This is just day one. The recording ended. I couldn't speak. There's more, Victor said. His voice was hollow. He left a second recording. Timestamped for today. Play it. Another pause. Then Daniel again. By now she knows. The police have been to see her. Her accounts are frozen. Her job is questioning her. She's probably calling you, Victor. Asking what to do. Tell her this. There's nothing she can do. I built this carefully. Legally. Every document has her signature. Every account traces back to her. She can scream that I did it. But who's going to believe her? The unstable woman who threatened her husband? Or the man who filed a restraining order to protect himself? She wanted to feel alive. I'm giving her exactly that. The feeling of everything falling apart. Day by day. Piece by piece. Until there's nothing left. The recording was cut off. I sat there on the floor. Phone pressed to my ear, unable to move. He planned this, I whispered. Every single piece. Yeah, Victor said. He did. What happens next? I don't know. But whatever it is, it's going to be worse than this. I hung up. Sat in the wreckage of my apartment. Thought about Daniel's voice on that recording. Calm. Cold. Controlled. He wasn't running from me. He was destroying me. And I'd given him every reason to do it. I thought Daniel left me. Turns out he left me for last. Kyle called me from federal custody, and what he told me made me realize we were both just pieces on Daniel's chessboard. The call came from a block number 3 days after the police raided my apartment. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Rebecca. Kyle's voice. Strained. Desperate. Kyle? Where are you? I've been trying to reach you for weeks. I'm in federal custody. They arrested me yesterday morning. My blood went cold. What? Why? IRS. Tax evasion. 8 years of it. They showed up at my apartment with a warrant and agents, and they went through everything. Bank statements. tax returns, business records. They had a file on me this thick. Every mistake I ever made, every corner I cut, everything. Kyle, I don't understand. What does this have to do with? It's Daniel. His voice cracked. This is Daniel. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me. What are you talking about? He had this information. All of it. He's been holding on to it. For years, Rebecca. He knew about my taxes. He knew I'd been cutting corners with my business. He knew everything and he never said a word. And then the day he disappeared, he sent it all to the IRS. How do you know it was him? Because he told me. Kyle's breathing was ragged. He visited me. Yesterday, before my arraignment. He came to the holding cell and he looked at me through the glass, and you know what he said? I couldn't speak. He said, you thought I was weak. I was just patient. Enjoy the next decade. That's it. That's all he said. Then he walked away. My hands were shaking. Kyle, did he say anything about me? No, he didn't mention you at all. It was like you didn't exist. He just looked at me with these dead eyes and told me to enjoy prison. How long are you facing? My lawyer says 8 to 10 years if I don't take a plea. Maybe 5 if I cooperate. But there's nothing to cooperate with. The evidence is ironclad. Daniel made sure of that. I pressed my palm against my forehead. I don't understand. You're his brother. You grew up together. How could he do this to you? Kyle laughed. It was bitter and broken. That's the thing. He never treated me any different. Even after we started, he was still my brother. We still hung out, watched football, had beers. He came to my birthday party 2 months ago, gave me a gift, hugged me, told me he loved me. He hugged me goodbye at Thanksgiving, Kyle said quietly. 3 days later, the feds showed up at my door. That's when I knew. He'd been planning this, waiting for the right moment. And then he pulled the trigger. Why didn't he just confront us? Why do all this? Because confrontation gives us power. It gives us a chance to explain, to apologize, to make him the bad guy for not forgiving us. He didn't want that. He wanted us powerless. I heard voices in the background. Someone telling Kyle his time was almost up. Rebecca, listen to me. Daniel isn't just angry. He's methodical. He spent months, maybe years, setting this up. And he didn't just come after me. He came after both of us. At the same time. With the same precision. I know. The police raided my apartment. They're investigating me for fraud, identity theft, things I didn't do, things he did using my information. Then you know what I'm talking about. This isn't revenge. It's annihilation. He didn't just want to hurt us. He wanted to erase us. Do you know where he is? No. But he said something before he left the holding cell. He turned back and looked at me and said she'll find me. Eventually. And when she does, she'll wish she hadn't. My chest tightened. What does that mean? I don't know. But whatever he's planning, it's not over. This is just the beginning. The line went dead. I sat there with my neighbor's phone in my hand, trying to process what Kyle had just told me. Daniel had destroyed both of us, simultaneously, with the same cold precision. And he'd been planning it for months, maybe longer. I called Victor. Kyle was arrested. Federal custody. Tax evasion. I know. I saw it on the docket this morning. Daniel did it. He had evidence on Kyle for years and he held onto it. Waited until the perfect moment. Then dropped it all on the IRS the same day he disappeared. Victor was quiet for a moment. He's more calculated than I thought. What kind of man does this? The kind who's been hurt before. Deeply. And you just gave him a reason to do it again. What do you mean, again? Victor exhaled. I've been digging into Daniel's past. His real past. Before he met you. And I found something. What? Can you come to my office? Now. Yeah, now. You need to see this. I was there in 30 minutes. Victor was waiting with a file on his desk. Thicker than the others. Older looking. Sit down. I sat. Victor opened the file. Pulled out a photograph. Slid it across the desk. It was Daniel. Younger. Maybe mid-20s. Standing next to a woman. Dark hair. Pretty smile. They were at a wedding. His arm around her waist. Who is this? Her name was Melissa Brennan. She was engaged to Daniel 10 years ago. Engaged? Daniel never mentioned being engaged before. That's because it ended badly. Very badly. Victor pulled out another document. A police report. I scanned it quickly. Words jumped out. Harassment. Stalking. Restraining order. What is this? Melissa cheated on Daniel. With his best friend. Daniel found out. And according to this report, he didn't take it well. He started following her. Showing up at her work. Calling her at all hours. She filed a restraining order. Daniel did that? That's what the report says. But here's where it gets interesting. 2 months after the restraining order was filed, Melissa disappeared. My stomach dropped. Disappeared. Vanished. No trace. No body. No evidence. Just gone. Police investigated Daniel. Brought him in for questioning multiple times. But they never had enough to charge him. No proof. No witnesses. Nothing. Eventually, the case went cold. You think Daniel killed her? I think Daniel made her disappear. Whether that means he killed her or scared her into running, I don't know. But the pattern is the same. Woman betrays him. He doesn't confront. He doesn't explode. He waits, plans, and then he makes them disappear. I stared at the photograph. Daniel's face. Younger but recognizable. The same steady expression. The same calm eyes. Why didn't this come up when we got married? Background checks. References. Something. Because Daniel changed his name. Legally. After Melissa disappeared. His birth name was Thomas Brennan. He became Daniel Hartman 8 years ago. New identity. New life. Clean slate. He's not even Daniel. Not legally. He was. But he started over. And you never knew. I felt like the floor was tilting. So everything he told me, about his past, his family, his life before me, it was all a lie. Some of it was true. His brother Kyle is real. His parents are real. But the man you married isn't who he said he was. He's a man who's done this before. And he's doing it again. Why me? Why did he marry me if he thought I'd? Victor's face was grim. Maybe he didn't think you would. Maybe he hoped you'd be different. Or maybe he set you up. Put you in a position where you'd fail. Either way, you played into his hands. I thought about how I met Daniel. At a grief support group. He'd said he lost his fiancée to an accident. That he was trying to move on. That meeting me felt like a second chance. It was all a lie. What do? You stay away from him. You don't go looking for him. You don't try to talk to him. Because if the pattern holds, the people who try to find him are the ones who disappear. He's already destroyed my life. What else can he do? Victor looked at me like I just asked the stupidest question in the world. He can make sure you never recover. He can bury you so deep in legal trouble and debt and ruined reputation that you spend the next decade digging yourself out. Or worse, he can make sure you don't make it out at all. I left Victor's office and sat in my car with my hands on the steering wheel. Daniel wasn't Daniel. He was Thomas, a man who'd made someone disappear before. A man who'd spent 10 years building a new identity and a new life just to do it all over again. And I'd given him every reason to destroy me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. You're getting close. Keep digging. You'll find me eventually. And when you do, you'll understand why I did this. All of it. I stared at the message until it blurred. Daniel wasn't done. And I had no idea what was coming next. I walked into that abandoned warehouse at 9 p.m. Daniel was standing in the center, spotlit like an actor on stage. And when he spoke, I realized I never knew him at all. The address came in a text 2 days after Kyle's arrest. No words, just coordinates and a time. Victor told me not to go. Said it was a trap. Said Daniel was baiting me into something I couldn't come back from. I went anyway. The building was on the industrial edge of town. Empty for years. Broken windows. Graffiti on the walls. My footsteps echoed on the concrete as I walked inside. Daniel was waiting in the middle of the empty space. A single work light hung above him, casting harsh shadows across his face. He looked different. Thinner. Older. But calm. Almost peaceful. You came, he said. You knew I would. Yes, I did. I stopped 10 feet away from him. Close enough to see his face. Far enough to run if I needed to. Who are you? I asked. He smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't cold. It was just empty. Someone who learned that people don't change. They just find new victims. Your name isn't Daniel. No, it's Thomas. Thomas Brennan. I became Daniel Hartman 8 years ago. Clean slate. New life. New identity. Why? Because Thomas Brennan was destroyed by someone he loved. And Daniel Hartman was built to make sure it never happened again. My chest felt tight. Melissa. You know about her. I know you were engaged. I know she cheated. I know she disappeared. Daniel nodded slowly. She didn't just cheat. She systematically destroyed me. Slept with my best friend. Lied to my face for months. Made me feel crazy for suspecting. And when I finally confronted her, you know what she said. I didn't answer. She said I was boring. That I didn't make her feel alive. That she needed more than I could give her. His voice didn't change. Didn't rise. Didn't crack. So I gave her what she deserved. You killed her. I pushed her off a balcony. Made it look like she fell. No witnesses. No evidence. Police questioned me for months, but they never had enough to charge me. Eventually, they stopped looking. I felt ice in my veins. And then you came after me. Not right away. First, I studied psychology, manipulation, long-term strategy. I learned how people like Melissa think. What drives them? What makes them cheat? And I learned how to spot them. People like me. Yes, insecure, attention-seeking, impulsive. You were perfect. The word hit me like a slap. You chose me. I found you. At that grief support group. You were so eager to be seen. So desperate to feel special. I knew exactly what you needed. Stability. Attention. Someone who made you feel safe. So that's what I gave you. You manipulated me. I gave you everything. Love. Stability. Trust. A perfect marriage. And I waited. For what? For you to prove me right. That betrayal is inevitable. That given the right opportunity, people like you will always choose excitement over loyalty. I felt sick. Kyle. Daniel's smile widened slightly. Kyle was perfect. My own brother. Charming. Impulsive. Everything I'm not. I made sure you two spent time together. Family dinners. Barbecues. I'd leave you alone with him. Create opportunities. And when you finally took the bait, I documented everything. You wanted me to cheat. I knew you would cheat. There's a difference. I didn't force you. I just made it easy. And you did exactly what I expected. You used me for revenge against a dead woman. No. His voice hardened for the first time. I used you to prove I was right. That betrayal is inevitable. That love is just a weakness waiting to be exploited. And that I could destroy it before it destroyed me. I couldn't breathe. Why? Why go through all of this? Why not just? Just what? Leave? Divorce you? Let you walk away thinking you got away with it? He shook his head. No. You needed to feel what I felt. Powerless. Erased. Invisible. You needed to watch your life fall apart piece by piece while everyone blamed you. I'm sorry. For what I did. I don't want your apology. I never did. Apologies are what guilty people give to make themselves feel better. I wanted you to suffer. And you have. So what now? You disappear again. Start over with a new identity. Daniel reached into his jacket, pulled out a folder, handed it to me. Divorce papers. Our marriage is legal. I made sure of that. But you get nothing. No assets. No support. Just debt and legal fees and a ruined reputation. I opened the folder with shaking hands. The documents were official. Notarized. Dated. You're not running, I said. No. I'm turning myself in. My head snapped up. What? Tonight. Police are already on their way. I called them before you got here. Why would you? Because I'm done. I proved my point. Melissa. You. Kyle. All of you got exactly what you deserved. And now I'm ready to accept the consequences. You're confessing to murder? Yes. I pushed Melissa off that balcony 10 years ago. Premeditated. First-degree murder. I'll serve 15 years. Maybe 20. And me. You'll serve too. Just not in prison. The fraud charges will stick. The identity theft. The financial crimes. You'll spend years fighting legal battles you can't win. Your credit is destroyed. Your reputation is ruined. Your family won't speak to you. You'll work minimum wage jobs just to pay off the debt I created in your name. And every single day, you'll remember that you were never loved. You were a project, an experiment, a way for me to prove that I was right about people like you. Tears burn my eyes. I loved you. No, you loved the performance, the character I played. Daniel Hartman, the steady husband, the reliable provider. That man never existed. He was just a role I perfected over 3 years. 3 years of lying. 3 years of watching you lie to me and pretending not to notice. Do you know how hard that was? Watching you come home from hotel rooms. Watching you text Kyle while sitting next to me on the couch. Watching you smile and kiss me and tell me you loved me while you were destroying us. Then why didn't you just leave? Because leaving is what weak people do. I wanted you to feel what I felt when Melissa betrayed me. That moment when you realized everything was a lie. That the person you loved never existed. That you wasted years of your life on someone who saw you as nothing. Police sirens echoed in the distance. Getting closer. Daniel walked toward the entrance. Stopped. Turned back to look at me one last time. You asked the PI to find me. I've been here the whole time. Watching you unravel. It was beautiful. Daniel. That's not my name. His voice was flat. Dead. You never knew my name. You never knew me. And now you never will. He walked out into the night. The sirens got louder. Red and blue lights flashed through the broken windows. I heard voices. Footsteps. Someone calling out commands. I stood there alone in that empty building with divorce papers in my hands and the ruins of my life scattered around me. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. My marriage. My choices. My life. Daniel didn't leave me. He performed me. And when the show was over, I was the only one left standing in the wreckage. 6 months later, I'm still untangling the legal nightmare he left behind. Kyle's in prison. 5 years. Maybe more if he doesn't cooperate. My lawyers tell me the fraud charges will take years to resolve. Even if I prove Daniel did it, the damage is done. My credit is destroyed. I lost my job. My apartment. Most of my friends stopped returning my calls. Daniel writes me letters from jail. Every week like clockwork. The envelopes are always the same. Plain. White. No return address. Inside is a single piece of paper with one sentence written in his perfect handwriting. Did you find what you were looking for? I never respond. Because the answer is too painful. I found exactly what he wanted me to find. Nothing.